Queen Yargoje of Zamfara in present-day northwest Nigeria reigned for 40 years from 1310 to 1350. She expanded and relocated the capital of the kingdom from Dusi to a more strategically defendable area at Kuyambana. Yargoje was the first daughter of Daka, the fifth king of Zamfara. She was not only queen, she was also head of the Bori court, which was a pre-Islamic mode of worship in parts of Hausa land. During her reign, there were female chiefs appointed for the first time in the kingdom. The queen surrounded herself with such female chiefs who were not known before the time of her reign. Interestingly, her reign was long and peaceful. In fact, it was a prosperous era. Documenting the accomplishments of Queen Poku, an Ashanti ruler of the Baule people in the first half of the 18th century, presents certain problems because her life was chronicled primarily through oral history. In recent years, however, scholars have combined African oral tradition with written European accounts to flesh out the details of the life of Poku with remarkable results. At the time of Poku's birth between 1700 and 1720, the Ashanti kingdom was still intact. She was born into royalty, the niece of the powerful Osei Tutu, the daughter of Nyaku Kosiamwa, who was either a sister or niece of the king. Since succession to the Ashanti throne was matrilineal, a mother's identity was more important than a father's, and the identity of Poku's father was not recorded. She herself was important to the succession since the royal heir was a child of the king's sister or his niece. When a new male heir succeeded to the throne, the queen mother shared power with her son. In 1718, Osei Tutu was ambushed and killed, and power over the Ashanti passed to Poku's brother, Dakon. During his reign, which lasted for almost 2 decades, Poku chose a husband according to the privilege of her rank. Much to her regret, however, since she was in line to produce the next heir to the throne, she did not become pregnant. One day when Dakon and his army were away at war from the Ashanti capital in Kumasi, enemy troops occupied the town. All the royal princesses were killed except Poku, who arranged for the townspeople to escape. Prepared to die at her post if necessary, she was instead taken hostage, and when Dakon returned to his empty capital, he was furious. Dakon appointed a warrior, Tanu, to lead the forces in freeing the royal princess, and following the rescue, Tanu was married to her. This marriage resulted in the birth of a baby boy, ensuring an heir to the Golden Ashanti throne. Eventually, Poku decided to leave Kumasi and found a new kingdom, and invited Ashanti families who also wanted to leave to join her. They headed westward toward Komio River, passing through interminable jungle, where according to tradition, they fought panthers, giant ants and giant snakes. Sometimes, they crossed savannas filled with belligerent elephants, and serpents seemed always to lie in wait, no matter what the terrain, while illness also dogged their footsteps. After many months, they reached the banks of the Komio River. Faced with a raging torrent, with no shallow fords or places for canoes to cross, Poku and her followers decided that a sacrifice must be made to the river spirit. At first, their leader considered sacrificing a sick woman and her baby, but when they were brought to her, Poku declined. She decided that nothing less than her son would please the river spirit, and threw her only child into the waters of the Komo. It was for this event that the migrating Ashanti became known as the Baule, in memory of Poku's son. Nefertiti, whose name means "a beautiful woman has come," was the queen of Egypt and wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten from around 1353 to 1336 BC. She and her husband established the cult of Aten, the sun god, and promoted Egyptian artwork that was radically different from its predecessors. A bust of Nefertiti is one of the most iconic symbols of Egypt. Known as the ruler of the Nile and daughter of gods, Nefertiti acquired unprecedented power and is believed to have held equal status to the pharaoh himself. Nefertiti was married to Akhenaten around 1357 BC and was later promoted to be his queen. In the 4th year of Akhenaten's reign, the sun god Aten became the dominant national god. The king led a religious revolution, closing the older temples and promoting Aten's central role. Nefertiti had played a prominent role in the old religion, and this continued in the new system. She worshipped alongside her husband and held the usual kingly position of priest of Aten. By the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, Nefertiti enjoyed unprecedented power, and there is evidence that she may have even been elevated to the status of co-regent, equal in status to the pharaoh himself. She is often depicted on temple walls in the same size as him, signifying her importance, and is shown alone worshipping the god Aten. Despite her great power, Nefertiti disappeared from all descriptions after 12 years. The reason for her disappearance is unknown and continues to remain a matter of speculation and debate. Queen Idia was the mother of Esige, the Oba of Benin, who ruled from 1504 to 1550 in present-day southern Nigeria. She played a very significant role in the rise and reign of her son. Idia has been described as a great warrior who fought relentlessly before and during her son's reign as the Oba of Edo people. When Oba Ozolua died, he left behind 2 powerful sons to dispute over who would become king. His son, Esige, controlled Benin City, while another son, Ahoran, was based in the equally important city of Udo, about 30 kilometers away. Idia mobilized an army around Esige at Unuame on the river Ose, which defeated Aharon, and Oba Esige became the 16th king of the Benin Kingdom. Subsequently, the neighboring Igala people sent warriors across the Benue River to wrestle control of Benin's northern territories. Esige conquered the Igala, re-establishing the unity and military strength of the kingdom. His mother Idia received much of the credit for these victories, as her political counsel together with her medicinal knowledge were viewed as critical elements of Esige's success on the battlefield. Idia became the first queen mother of Benin when Esige conferred upon her the Iyoba title and the palace for her as a queen mother. Nandi was a daughter of a chief of the Langeni tribe and the mother of the famous Shaka, king of the Zulus. In 1787, Nandi's son Shaka was born out of wedlock, and she suffered great humiliation and rejection. The women and singers also didn't waste time mocking Nandi, but she was resilient. However, she instilled good values into her son, shaping him into one of the greatest leaders in Africa. Nandi always reminded her son that despite his circumstances, he would one day be a great king. When Shaka became king, Nandi was to exercise a great deal of influence over affairs of the kingdom during her son's reign. She and the other women surrounding Shaka were put in charge of the military and given the power to govern while Shaka was on the campaign. It is said that Nandi was an influence in matters of moderation in Shaka's life, suggesting various political compromises to him rather than encouraging violent actions. Through Nandi standing beside Shaka, the kingdom grew over a short period of 12 years. It is therefore understandable that King Shaka held women in high esteem because he understood their power and resilience. Nandi is not only important because she gave birth to Shaka, but because of her strong will and resilience. Nandi died in 1827, and her death was deeply mourned by her son and the Zulu people. Which of these African queens fascinates you the most? Are there other African queens whose stories you would like to tell us? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to like and share with your friends. Would you like to know more about King Shaka and other powerful African kings? Check that out in our next video. You can also subscribe to our channel to receive the latest videos as they drop.